round 1 is done and round 2 has begun. Round 1 is over. The Grizzlies beat the T-Wolves, and I know this is very late, but I was not able to record one after the day before round 1 started, and I wasn't able to record one yesterday either. So I'm recording this on the 2nd of May, and it's gonna come out on the 3rd of May. So I'm late, but at this point, there's nothing I can really do about it. So yeah, at least I'm uploading a video. So this is pretty much like a prediction, but like it's based on my before predictions, but also based on game 1. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what we finna do. So I'm not gonna waste any time. Let's get right into it. I might as well start with the series that is currently playing right now, or like on the screen. We got Grizzlies versus Warriors. The Warriors are my championship favorites, so of course I have them winning the series. In my estimate, probably 6, but game 1 was amazing. Curry played great, but then in the Grizzlies side, you had Jaren Jackson Jr. playing amazing, not getting into foul trouble, making his shots, playing great defense, and he was really taking advantage of the matchup he had with Andrew Wiggins, because Draymond got ejected earlier in the game, and Draymond probably would have done a better job guarding Jaren Jackson Jr. than Andrew Wiggins did, but he got ejected, so he couldn't be there. And you also gotta remember that Ja Morant had a great 4th quarter. He was doing amazing, and that's what you really expect from this team. They were like this close to having another Ja Morant layup game winner, and that would have been amazing. That would have been very, very amazing. But Klay actually kind of choked. Like, if Ja made that layup, everybody would be talking about how Klay choked, how Klay did bad, how Klay choked. Like, bro, they'd be talking about how Klay did bad, pretty much. They'd be talking about how he choked. I just said the same thing like 3 times in a row. My point is, they'd be talking down on Klay, but he made the great defensive play at the end to redeem himself, and that brought them this win. And you know, my pick for the series, my explanation for my pick for the series is the Warriors are a more experienced team. They're a more skilled team in my opinion. And although the Grizzlies have so many weapons that can beat you, they got Ja, of course, but then they also got Jaren, who beat them in the game 1. They got Desmond Bane, they got Dylan Brooks, they got who else? Kyle Anderson, I don't know. But my point is, this team is very versatile. They can have a lot of guys who could beat you. Tyus Jones, so Brandon Clark too. So this team will definitely give the Warriors a good fight, but the Warriors are too experienced in my opinion. They got all these veterans with championship DNA: Curry, Draymond, Klay, Iggy, along with the young guys like Jordan Poole, Kuminga. Wiggins is not exactly young, but he doesn't have the championship DNA, although he's an all-star, which is weird to say. Got Gary Payton II, who was doing amazing, and you know, this team is just too much for this Grizzlies team in my opinion, and I think the Warriors will win the series in 6. And so far my prediction has held up, considering only game 1 has happened and the Warriors took the win. So far my prediction is looking pretty good, but at the end of the day, anything can happen. It's the playoffs, so yeah, but I think that my prediction, of course, is gonna be right. Moving on to the next series, we got Bucks versus Celtics. Bucks versus Celtics. Game 1 of this was interesting. I saw some parts of it, and Giannis just was amazing. The Celtics did a decent job at guarding Giannis. They didn't let him score as much as he could have. He only had 24 points, which is a below average. Really, it's a below average game for Giannis. But he had, I think, 12 assists and like 13 rebounds. So they're beating Giannis when it came to him shooting, but everywhere else, Giannis was destroying them. He was passing out to shooters who will be wide open to make their shots. He'd be rebounding the ball, playing great defense on Jason Tatum. He was just doing great on everything else. Even though he wasn't able to shoot the ball the best he could, he was still making a great impact for his team, and that brought the energy they needed to win this game. How will the series go without Chris Middleton? My original prediction was Bucks in 7, and right now I think it still have to be Bucks in 7, because the Celtics are good, but Giannis, in my opinion, is just too much. And without Chris Middleton, of course, that could change, but I still think it's probably going to end up being Bucks in 7. Especially after watching Game 1, that does go into it a bit. I still think that it'll be Bucks in 7, because Giannis is doing great, Jrue Holiday's doing great, Brook Lopez is doing great, the rest of the team is playing great defense, making their shots, and if they can continue to do that for the rest of the series, this should be an easy series for them. Well, not easy, but this should be a winnable series for them. And if the Celtics can win this series, I would be very interested to see what happens there. Because the Bucks, if you don't know, the Bucks are my finals pick. If the Celtics beat the Bucks here, that would be I would be surprised. I'd have to give Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, all those guys their props. But if it doesn't happen, then the Bucks continue their dominance and make it probably to the finals, because a lot of people are saying this is the Eastern Conference Finals. I do think the Heat or Sixers, probably the Heat, do have a chance at making the finals still, but a lot of people think it's going to be one of these two teams, and it's a valid point considering you got the reigning champs and the best defensive team in the league, so, you know. And speaking of the Heat versus 76ers. I think this should definitely be a whole lot of a closer series than it will be, and the reason it won't be that as close as people want it to be is there's really one big reason for that. Joel Embiid is injured, and he's out for games 1 and 2. And yes, anything is possible, but games 1 and 2 are probably going to the Heat, considering they're in Miami and they're pretty much the best defensive team in the league, or one of the best. It's between them and the Celtics, I think. But yeah, those two teams are like amazing defensively, and Miami can definitely help. Joel Embiid being gone definitely helps Miami in this situation with without having to worry about having to guard this 7-foot tall guy in the paint who can just pretty much score just about anywhere. That definitely helps a lot, because now you could just focus on Harden and keep him in Alcatraz. You can focus on Tobias Harris, you can focus on Tyrese Maxey, and although that's still a lot of good scoring options, like also you can't forget with Danny Green, and that's about it. But although those are still some decent scoring options, like Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate this year, and the Sixers missing him is crucial. So if Embiid does come back, I don't think he's going to be able to help them get the whole series. I think at most they'll take 2 games, but my pick, especially with the Joel Embiid, without the Joel Embiid situation, my pick would be Heat in 6. But with the Joel Embiid situation, I have to limit it to Heat in 5, because I don't think Joel Embiid is going to be ready in time to bring the Sixers into the series. And James Harden does look better now, but he's not complete. Actually, did he really look better? He had like 16 points. So I guess you could say he looked better, but at the same time he didn't, because he wasn't really doing James Harden things, but he was doing James Harden things, if you know what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't really show on the stat sheet how James Harden was playing. Of course, the Heat keyed in on him, considering he's the main scoring option with Embiid gone, and that definitely contributed to him having less than a 20-point game. But what am I even trying to say here? Heat in 5. Honestly, I just want the Heat to win so that the Sixers are eliminated as a Raptors fan. And as an NBA fan, I want the Heat to win because I like the Heat. And yeah, but at the end of the day, I do just want a good series. And without Embiid, it's not much of a good series. So as an purely NBA fan, this is a bit sad for me. Moving on, we got the last series we have to talk about, Suns versus Mavericks. This series is interesting. This series is definitely very interesting. Game 1 happened and Luka dropped 40, but he lost. The Suns got the win with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton all having great games, and they can continue to do that as they've done all season for the rest of the series. Suns in 6, maybe 5 even, but I'd probably have to say 6 just because the Mavericks are they have Luka, and Luka's gonna get at least 2 games where he wins. Like, there's gonna be some games where Luka has a game, Jalen Brunson has a game, Spencer Dinwiddie has a game, Max Kleber has a game, Dallas Bertans has a game. Like, if a bunch of these guys on their team have like good games, because their team is really Luka and a bunch of wild cards. So if there's a game where a bunch of their guys can have really good games, that's a game that I could see them winning. So yeah, there's not much else I have to say about the series except Suns probably gonna end up being a 6-game series. I can see it being 5, but it's probably gonna end up being a 6 because Luka and the Mavericks are actually pretty good at basketball, and the Pelicans took 2 games from the Suns. Yes, Devin Booker was out, but the Pelicans took 2 games from the Suns. So I think the Mavericks should definitely be able to take 2 games from the Suns. But yeah, there's not much else I have to talk about for the series. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Only 8 teams left. Just about all of them, except maybe 1 or 2, have a chance to win the championship. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But for now, I don't really know what to say. For now, enjoy basketball. Okay, I'm sorry. Nah, that's kidding. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. Let me just do my outro. I don't know what I'm talking about. So just a quick recap over the predictions I made. Heat in 6, Bucks in 7, Warriors in 6, and Suns in 6. No, Heat in 5, Bucks in 7, Warriors in 6, Suns in 6. And that would leave the Suns, Warriors, Bucks, and Heat, both 1 seeds and 3 seeds. And that would be very, very good to see. I do want to see a Suns Warriors series, and I want to see a Bucks Heat series. So we will, if we can get chances to see those series, that would be amazing. But even seeing Heat Celtics series would be interesting. Seeing a Suns versus Grizzlies series, no, that wouldn't be that good. But my point is, anything is possible, and at the end of the day, we just gotta watch, see, and hope for good entertainment. Because at the end of the day, that's what the NBA is for, entertainment. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all I have to say. Low-key, those last few minutes were me kind of rambling, but I got through it. So, if you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, share, comment on your tips, tricks, or topics you have me to talk about. I'll try to be consistent when it comes to uploading after games. I only watched like parts of 2 of the games that happened on Sunday. I didn't watch, I did watch the beginning of what happened today for the Heat and Sixers game, and it looked like the Heat were clamping up, so that's how I know the Heat defense is just different. So, but anything's possible. So, we'll see. And yeah, that was me today. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.